And welcome into the Wednesday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. And we are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, good morning. Glad to be out in Murfreesboro yesterday, back in studio today. How are we doing? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm good. Similar drive into work for about an hour less drive for you today than yesterday. But that was fun. We had fun yesterday.
I did wake up at 3:45 in the morning yesterday. I was like, geez, this is early. Like, it's really dark outside.
You know, like then you head for the Alabama border.
Yeah. It's like, yep, see my family in 3 days. See you guys later. That worked out fine. Good stuff yesterday in Murfreesboro. Ian, as my microphone falls down to the floor, what are we doing? How are things going? What's going on?
Low T Mike.
Doing good. Good to see you guys. Yeah. Sound like it was a fun time out there yesterday.
I don't know that I'm going to get tired of the low T stuff anytime soon.
It just
works. I think you may have struck gold there. It's the low T Titans. Oh, man. There it goes again. All right.
Oh, boy.
Maybe I'll have to wrestle with it like Kuharski did.
Maybe that's why the chair was so low.
The chair's been fixed, but now the mic is
but somebody has absolutely screwed up the microphone. So
plug one hole.
Yeah. See how that goes.
Yeah.
See how that goes. We got a lot going on the program today. Gentry Estes from the Tennessean will be with us at 7 o'clock. Brian Callahan will be addressing the media later this morning. We hope to run that live for you on the program as well. Back at it today for the Titans before taking off to Tampa Bay and taking on the Buccaneers in a joint practice, and then the preseason game coming up this weekend. So we'll hear from Brian Callahan a little bit later in the show as well. Who knows, Joe? Maybe he's still riled up from the other day, and he just comes out to that press conference steaming today, 72 hours later or whatever it is.
Get ready with that dump button there, Ian. You never know.
Yeah. I'll be ready.
Maybe he needs to say a few of those words to some of the media folks.
Maybe so.
Maybe he'll use
John.
Fart.
Yeah. There you go. Or maybe he'll go the Hubert Davis route. Hey, Glennon, you want to go talk to Trey Avery? Get your ass up to New England. Go ahead. Go talk to Trey Avery. I have nothing to say about Trey Avery.
We will get into that. You're coming up here in just a few minutes because I saw that and just immediately started laughing yesterday.
Vrabel's finally found the championship formula.
Yep. Thank you, Trey. Get your butt up there to New England. Go win yourself a Super Bowl. Speaking of former Titans, who I guess are now current Titans again, Condre Diggs back with the Titans. He signs yesterday with Tennessee. 2 moves yesterday at safety for the Titans, including Diggs back into the fold, who, as we know, was a member of the Titans last year. He played in 8 games last year before getting hurt, has been out there, has been available, and now he is back here in Tennessee and is the newest member of the Tennessee Titans again. So I don't know exactly what that's going to mean for the safety room. I mean, he's 32 years old. He's coming off a year last year where he only appeared in 8 games, and they've addressed safety already this offseason. So I'm not exactly sure what his role is going to be here with the Titans, but Diggs back in the fold here in Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, it's good depth. I mean, if he's your 4th safety, that's even at his age, that's not bad.
No.
So certainly less excitement about him coming in now than there was a year ago, right? When you still thought maybe, that maybe there was a little more than there was than we saw last year, but good depth. And I mean, I didn't know until they signed him that he was Cam Ward's cousin.
Now,
did you know that?
I think I had heard that because I think I remember seeing a video about that earlier in the draft process, but no, I have not thought about that in months.
So, do we have that? He had an interesting little comment.
Oh, 1 second.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, he had an interesting little comment about Cam. I guess that must have been at Cam's pro day, right?
I would assume.
I think Jimmy Wyatt got.
I believe that is correct.
Yeah. So, So hey, bring in. You got Restrepo in here to catch passes. You got cousin Quandre here to defend them.
Yeah, I guess so.
Maybe. I mean, actually, the way that the depth chart shakes out, might see some Diggs, Restrepo,
yeah,
going at each other. Who does Cam favor?
He just starts.
Yeah, who's the real GM of the team?
Yeah,
Is it Cam Ward?
it could
maybe, huh?
I need you guys to go get Diggs. Need to bring him in here.
Yeah.
Teach those defensive backs stop catching my passes in practice here. Be good stuff.
But yes, here's that Diggs. It was from the pro day.
There you go.
Competitive prick. You know what I mean? He's one of the guys that you would love to go to war with, and everything you can think of in a quarterback, he does that. So I'm just proud to see his growth and see him continue to be the man that he's becoming.
Tell me about your relationship with him. How you remember him from the time he was a little boy.
I mean, he was bad as heck as a kid, so a lot of good times. But I used to push him around and stuff like that. But he used to come to a lot of my games and stuff like that to support. And we were really close knit family, so we used to see each other every weekend or at church or things like that. So we grew up in a church household.
Has he asked you about the Titans? Obviously, your experience there and about Nashville.
I mean, all year. It's been the same thing all year, and I've been vouching for him since I got there. So that's what's been cool about it.
What have you told him about the city, about the team, how he would fit in there?
I told him he'll love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I told him that it's a place that's seeking a good football team and want to go out there and compete. And, I think with Cali and, all the guys, Denard, those guys over, I think it's going to be, it'll be a good transition for him.
How do you think he'll be at the next level? Obviously, you've seen him mature from high school through college.
I mean, I don't think it's nothing he can't handle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Coming from the way he's come, the route he's had to take has been totally different than other people's routes. So everything he's been through, he's put the work in. He's going to continue to do the work. And like I said, he's a competitive freak, and he just wants to be the best.
There you go. There's Condre Diggs earlier in the offseason as at Cam Ward's pro day.
What did he say at the beginning?
What do you mean?
I think he said competitive as heck or something like that.
Okay. I thought he called him a competitive word, and I'm like, wow.
Freak.
Freak. Okay. All right. There you go. Good.
Mind out of the gutter at
ears
6:07 in the morning.
Yeah, well, it sounded like something different. Like, dang, that's I'd never heard those words combined together. But yeah, so there you go.
Good to know. Good to know he's in here, and maybe Cam Ward is the one making decisions out there right now.
Whatever can make Cam feel
I need
comfortable.
Restrepo to make the team. Forget the fact that he's like the 9th wide receiver on the depth chart right now. I need Restrepo to make the team, and I need Diggs to be our starting safety.
Well, if those two things happen, then we know who's calling the shots around.
Yeah,
here,
I would say so. I would say so. I'm interested to see how it goes. Like, I'll be honest with you. When they made the 2 moves at safety yesterday, before I saw the corresponding moves that happened, I was like, "Is there a safety hurt? Like, did Kevin Winston get hurt in practice or something? Like what's going on? Why are they bringing in all these safeties right now?" It turns out that does not appear to be the case. So that's good. Everybody appears to be healthy.
Versatility, it's not bad to have depth at certain spots. I mean, that's the thing. I guess I kind of assumed. Either way, I could have believed that Diggs was done or that he had just signed with somebody else.
Yep.
I mean, but yeah, it's not a bad thing to have. He's a guy you can plug him in if you need to and play. And we don't know how. Yeah, Nevada Josh. That's exactly what I thought it was too. Nevada Josh. But we don't know like how active or involved like Winston will be early in the season. There's a lot of excitement about him as a prospect and as a player, but is he going to be ready? Does this have any comment on that? I mean, I have no idea.
Yeah, it's good. I don't know. Like, you're talking about a guy that they signed yesterday in Joshua Bledsoe that has played 4 NFL games in his career. So I don't know how much of a factor he's going to be. Diggs, we'll see what that rotation ends up looking like. But I mean, again, we talked about, somebody asked us yesterday about how you're feeling about the secondary. Well, if they can find a way to stay healthy, they're continuing to add to the secondary. And look, Diggs last year, I think it was pretty clear, Joe, and I don't know how much of it was him and how much of it was the defense around him. But Diggs is not the same player that he used to be in Seattle, clearly. So what is that going to mean for what he can bring to the table in camp? And again, if everybody's healthy, what are the snap counts going to look like? It's safety specifically. If everybody's healthy, how much is Winston getting in there, right? Like that's going to be, I think, a thing that a lot of Titans fans are paying attention to is, all right, you got Woods, you got Hooker, Winston, how much is he getting on the field? And then you have kind of Diggs now in the background. So all of a sudden, some interesting options, at least for Denard Wilson in his secondary group.
Yeah, well, we're not used to seeing depth anywhere, so that's what it looks like. it would be good to have an equivalent of a Quandre Diggs, like at other positions, at the edge or tight end or whatever, where it's like actually
Receiver.
someone who can play if many.
I'm just going to start listing positions again, like I used to do in our old show open.
Linebacker,
football,
right basketball.
Yes.
Yeah,
Gunner.
Why did Chase get rid of that? I like that. I want to go back to that.
I know you do.
Yeah,
glad you did.
Sports, television,
left wing, right wing, defenseman, goalie. I can do them all. There's a lot of positions I know. I know the name of a lot of these positions
Just
out there.
keep calling them out if you know. Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah.
Congratulations to Quandre Diggs back with the Tennessee Titans. We'll see what that ends up looking like in camp. But those Tampa Bay Buccaneers better watch out, baby. Titan safety group is lethal looking heading into camp.
That's right.
Baker Mayfield,
loaded up.
Teddy Bridgewater, Kyle Trask, head on the swivel, baby.
Watch out Voltron out there.
That's right. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Some more NFL news to get to coming up next. We'll take your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Plus, old friends reunited in the National Football League. We will get into all that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, The Game. Hey, Robby Stanley here. Fantasy football right around the corner, and you could kick off football season at Twin Peaks' Ultimate Draft Party headquarters. When not on the clock, league members can sit back and relax with one of Twin Peaks' refreshing 29-degree beers, or ordered for the whole team with the Peak Sampler, jam-packed full of fan favorites, or indulge in other shareables like the double-stack nachos, loaded fries, and multiple flavors of boneless wings. Call to book your draft party today at the Twin Peaks, Cool Springs, or Madison locations. Visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/fantasy draft for more information. That's twinpeaksrestaurant.com/fantasy draft for more information. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Some news to get to around the NFL. Before we get to a suspension in the NFL and what's going to be a high-profile quarterback with a lot of eyeballs on him coming up this weekend, Trey Avery signing with the New England Patriots yesterday, Joe.
There we go,
A reunion
Braves.
of sorts. I guess we should have seen this coming. But Trey Avery, beloved member of this program, beloved member of the Tennessee Titans, back in camp with the New England Patriots yesterday. He's been claimed.
John Glennon his ears perked up. His journalistic instincts are dragging him to New England to find out.
Do you think he could be part of the nickel package, perhaps?
Mike, what'd you sign Trey Avery for this time? Are you yelling at anybody right now, Mike? Let me go ask you about Trey Avery.
Because it sucks to lose, Gentry.
Trey Avery need to show you anything?
Did you have another thought, or no? I'm just curious.
I mean, it's probably, there's a lot of different variable clips to choose from. I saw him on Bussing with the Boys yesterday and was reminded that, like, when he wants to be, he's very funny. But that one may be my favorite. I think that's either that one or him asking you what you're doing with your hands. Definitely my favorite.
Yeah. The underrated one is the storming out on Glennon, but there's not a lot of audio except for like,
Well, real grown up of you. Real mature.
yeah. Now I'm actually regretful. We need to keep a running list of all the former Titan coaches and players who are now reunited with Vrabel. I know Stretch is out there. There was another big story on Stretch out there in one of the Boston papers.
Yeah, Boston Globe.
So we know
Jack
Stretch.
Gibbons is up there.
Dr. Jack,
Yeah.
you better believe it.
Yeah.
Obviously, several coaches and stuff too. So Trey Avery, it just makes sense,
It does.
Yes.
Congratulations to Trey Avery. I wish him well in New England Patriots camp.
That Bussing with the Boys would have been amazing because I've only seen the one clip where they talked about him being fired.
Yeah.
He was like, Lawan's asking some goofy ass questions, but Bray was like, yeah, he went in and got fired. Glennon popped in.
Excuse me. Let's get to Trey Avery,
Busted.
please.
Yeah.
Well, you've not asked about Trey Avery yet?
Glennon absolutely hates it when we talk about this.
Yeah,
too,
but
which makes it
Glennon
even
won't be
better.
up for hours.
That's
so
true.
we can just rip him at will right now. It's great.
It's true. Joe, some news in the NFL. Jordan Addison of the Minnesota Vikings yesterday suspended for the first 3 games of the season by the National Football League for violation of the league's substance abuse policy. So it looks like the Vikings will be without Addison for the first 3 games. Now, I hear those of you out there would be like, well, it's a good thing they got Justin Jefferson then. You just throw him the ball a little bit more. We'll see what happens on that front. But Addison, the first 3 games of the year will not be available. And we saw last year with Sam Darnold at quarterback and those 2 at receiver, Addison and Jefferson, what that combination could be. Addison last year, 63 catches, 875 yards, 9 touchdowns in 15 games. So pretty productive year in year number 2 for Addison a year ago. In his first year, he had 70 catches for 911 yards. So he's been right around kind of the edge of a 1,000-yard guy in each of his first 2 years, and it looks like he will miss the first 3 games.
Yeah, he's a heck of a player. That's a big loss for them. It's really interesting, looking at the NFC North. First of all, there's definitely a lot of – I saw Diana Rossini, Colin Cowherd back and forth about J.J. McCarthy, which was interesting, which is basically Colin Cowherd saying, so why am I hearing from some people that things are going great, but the people that I know are telling me that there's real concern, and there's definitely some he's not lighting up camp. And I agree with Colin Cowherd's young quarterbacks, it does mean something. The veterans, sometimes they don't care about camp. That's why, when Tannehill's here, okay, whatever he's doing. I mean, he knows how to play in the NFL. Young quarterbacks, though, that does matter. Caleb Williams seems to be struggling in camp, which is kind of interesting. The Detroit Lions look completely incapable of playing football in their first preseason game. Are your Green Bay Packers just going to sit there and just dominate the entire division?
I mean, one can hope.
I mean, that might be what's about
they
to happen.
Lost
here.
a starting cornerback yesterday, so we'll see what that looks like as they move forward here. But we'll see.
I missed that. Who's that?
Nate Hobbs. He'll be back by hopefully the regular season, but we'll see.
And the Rams hope
Jordan Love.
There we go.
Love that guy.
That Matt Stafford is back, by the way, but he had to have a freaking epidural in his.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
Aggravated disc
Yeah,
does not sound good.
none of that sounds
Epidural
good.
does not sound good.
Yeah.
Sciatica. So the NFC is kind of looking, a little bit Philly and who knows after that?
Yeah, we'll see. Hey, it's going to be fascinating. I mean, look, the NFC North last year had the Vikings who won 14 games, Lions who won 14 games,
15 games,
Packers who won 11 or whatever it was last year. So, I mean, conventional wisdom would tell me that's probably going to come down a little bit. Like, you're not going to have 3 teams in a division winning double-digit games again, probably, but we'll see what happens on that front. But, yeah, like the Stafford stuff, we talked about him yesterday. Like, I do think that they've got a chance to be pretty good. And if he's just not going to be healthy, that's going to be a massive problem.
They don't have as much of a chance. Yeah.
Much people love Stetson Bennett and Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know that they're going to be quite the same level quarterback.
No, that's a real concern for them. But there's some preseason excitement.
There is. Shedeur Sanders will be starting at quarterback for the preseason opener for the Cleveland Browns coming up on Friday against Carolina. Now, if you've not been keeping up with it, the quarterback room for Cleveland right now is an absolute mess. Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett, I believe both are dealing with hamstring injuries. You've got Joe Flacco at the age of 75 in there at the quarterback room right now. They just brought in Snoop Huntley the other day because of where their quarterback is right now, which Titans fans got a front row seat to that last year on Monday Night Football, the Mason Rudolph Snoop Huntley battle at quarterback, which I would love to just totally purge from my memory. But he's in there at quarterback now. So because of all of that, Sanders is going to start Friday. And Joe, my guess is he's probably going to play a lot. Like, they don't have very many healthy options at quarterback right now.
Yeah, and he missed one of the practices this weekend, and
he's got a sore shoulder.
Yeah, and apparently though, he kind of he said, I just am not. It doesn't feel good today, so he backed out. Then apparently he's back and he's okay. So I guess he just need a rest day. But yeah, so we'll see. We will see Shedeur Sanders, and I think that's an NFL Network.
That is correct.
Broadcast, right?
That is correct.
So can actually watch.
You gonna be locked in?
I mean, I'll probably watch a little bit of that.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah. To watch a particular player,
sure.
I think there's another interesting quarterback. Maybe is it the Joe Milton show? The Joe Milton show coming up this weekend.
I mean,
too?
Of course.
So you got that going on, but yeah, I mean, they're apparently, from some observers, Dylan Gabriel has outperformed Shedeur Sanders.
Yep.
Which, frankly, it does surprise me. I mean, I've never thought Dylan Gabriel is going to be an NFL quarterback. I always did think Shedeur was. Again, I know I'm an amazing quarterback analyst, but it does surprise me a little bit. But this is an opportunity for him to flip that a little bit.
Liam on the text line says, that's Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley to you.
Yes.
It's true. That's when I knew the Pro Bowl was dead.
That pretty much.
Oh, look, Tyler Huntley just made the Pro Bowl, and he played like 4 games that year. Awesome.
Pretty much tells you all you need to know about the Pro Bowl.
Yep, pretty much.
God.
Hey,
Huntley Rudolph.
Good for him for getting back in the fold. Maybe, I say Shedeur is going to play a lot. Maybe Shedeur plays like a quarter, and then it's 3 quarters of Tyler Huntley after that. That'd be something.
Another starting quarterback. This is tomorrow on the NFL Network, 6:00. You got Anthony Richardson.
Yep.
Now, how significant is it that he's starting as opposed to Daniel Jones? I don't know, but more and more, Richardson is playing well. And again, it's like, is he still young enough for that to matter? I would say yes. Although, again, it was kind of like as a rookie, the whole plan seemed to be changed by how he performed in camp. I guess maybe it was more changed by Jim Irsay just saying, no, we're going to play him. I don't know. But it's better than nothing. It's better than to not have him playing well. And if he can beat out Daniel Jones, that's also maybe not that impressive, but better than nothing.
It would be better than not beating out Daniel Jones.
That's
right.
For
sure.
Yes.
Like if you got in there and it's like, wow, Daniel Jones is clearly the better quarterback in camp. That would probably not speak well for Richardson moving forward.
And people thought that was going to happen.
Oh, yeah. Multiple people.
Yeah.
That are
we talked
around
to.
the Colts that we talked to.
Yeah.
Yes. That fully expected that to happen. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Speaking of quarterbacks, Is there someone in the NFL that has unlocked a way to predict future quarterback success? We will get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Later today on 94.9 The Fan, the Sounds taking on the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp at First Horizon Park. First pitch at 6:35. Coverage also available on the Game Nashville app and at theGameNashville.com. Sounds Baseball, 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. Joe, there's an interesting excerpt from a book by Seth Wickersham, and we've talked about this book before, American Kings, a biography of the quarterback, which is coming up on September the 9th. So going to be all sorts of kind of interesting tidbits and stories that are coming out in this book. But there's one, a little excerpt of which came out yesterday that is kind of making the rounds right now, Joe, that focuses in on Sean Payton of the Denver Broncos and potentially like a quarterback, I guess formula is probably the right way to put it, that could be, in his mind, a pretty good predictor of future success at the NFL level, that it looks like he has applied with Bo Nix, with the early returns of which, and after year one for Bo Nix, being pretty darn good for the Broncos. And some people are looking at Denver this year and saying, could they challenge Kansas City in the AFC West? Could they be maybe a sneaky Super Bowl contender in the AFC? So just kind of tell us here a little bit of what Seth Wickersham and this book that's going to be coming out and that this excerpt has uncovered here with Sean Payton.
Yeah, well, I did this and applied it to Cam Ward, but to give the background on it, first of all, for him, it's stats that tell him about processing. Now, as we know, as soon as I read this, I'm like, well, there are tests now that also test processing, S2 cognition, which of course has become this controversial thing because of all that happened with CJ Stroud. But that's what they're trying to do and actually show you, okay, here's the processing speed. But he's trying to, basically the idea is like, if you have too many of these negative plays, it probably means you are delayed a bit in your decision making, which, as this really good excerpt from this, I'm sure this book will be great, points out, Peyton himself, that was his issue as a quarterback. He was a quarterback who was like he was a replacement guy in the 87 strike, played in the Arena League. Like, to him, it's like, I love the analogy. It's like, if he's driving a new Mercedes-Benz, all these different features, and he gets overwhelmed by it. Drew Brees gets in there and like, boom, 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 knows all the features, and like the brain's like this. So that's the difference. It really is. It's like making those quick decisions and seeing it real fast, just with enough time to avoid the bad plays. So his whole thing is, and I didn't know anything about this story, but he was totally set on Patrick Mahomes was going to be his replacement for Drew Brees.
In New Orleans,
In New Orleans, and he was going to get him at 11, and he was totally confident, like, I'm getting him at 11. These people don't know how good he is. But he came up with a formula, which is pretty simple. It just takes all his attempts, adds up the sacks, the fumbles, the picks, and then whatever percentage of the attempts is, what all those negative plays, and then what percentage of the attempts. So for Mahomes, 1349 attempts, he had 68 sacks, 14 fumbles, not fumbles lost, fumbles, and then 29 picks. So that's an 8.1% of his attempts was a negative play. That's a good score.
Yeah. Lower the better.
For Peyton, that's a good score. Peyton really liked that score, and so he thought he was going to get him, and then Andy Reid and the Chiefs move up at the last second to 10 and grab me. He's like, and as soon as, the story, it's like as soon as they moved up, he's like, he knew. He's like, yep, Andy Reid sees it. Now, again, Patrick Mahomes also absurd arm talent. The argument against him was system QB, really, because Texas Tech, there were a lot of, especially back then, a lot more questions about system translating to NFL. But so then you go through, but he's been doing that formula. So again, 8.1% for Mahomes, which sounds low. Fast forward to last year. So last year's draft, the Broncos brought in Caleb Williams. They brought in Drake May, even though they didn't know, they knew they weren't going to get him. But you go through that formula with those guys. Drake May comes out to 69 fumbles, 14 picks, 16 picks, 14 fumbles, 69 sacks. He's at 10.5%. Pretty good. Caleb Williams, 17.5.
Not great.
The negative play number for Caleb Williams, 17.5. Again, it didn't matter, but it was a little high. Go to Bo Nix. And remember, we're all like, Bo Nix, what are you? Really? Bo Nix?
Yeah.
Really? 2.3%.
Yeah.
First of all, I still can't believe this stat. He never fumbled in college. He never fumbled.
I guess not.
That's wild to me. And also, like, he threw a total of 10 picks. That also seems wild to me. Like, I guess it was more just being ineffective at Auburn, right? And it's not like he was throwing picks. I mean, I knew like that last year at Oregon was like, it was just, and another part of this is completion percentage, by the way. I mean, that's important. And of course, Bo Nix, 74.8%.
Well, that was so
we
he
knew
threw
that.
a total of 10 picks at Oregon.
Oh, so
Yeah.
okay. So this is
just all Oregon stats,
which is really weird because see that's a very important thing to keep in mind because these other guys, I mean, like these other guys are their full careers. You know what I mean?
Well, I looked at the attempts and it was 878. And I was like, well, he was in college for about 12 years. So he definitely threw more than 878. He threw 878.
That is a 2-year though,
yeah,
right?
2 years.
That's still pretty good in 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting that he would separate, that he would cut him in half. But I guess, that's the thing. If you want to do that with Cam Ward, you would get a much better total number. But I went through his entire career. Okay. Yeah. So Cam goes, because Cam's numbers, especially like the sacks, and it's like, yes, that's on the quarterback to some extent, but it's also, there's a big difference between Washington State and Miami, probably in talent around you too.
Yep.
So anyway, Cam, you go through everything. He had 1,436 attempts. And again, I'm not counting Incarnate Word. I'm doing, Washington State's 2 years and Miami's 1 year. You go sacks. You got 46 to 39 to 22 down in those 3 years. Fumbles, you had quite a few fumbles, 7, 12. You only had 3 last year. Picks, a total of 23. Completion percentage also good. But overall, 10.6% is Cam's bad play percentage, which is, again, not bad. It's right around the same as Drake May. And now if you just isolated Miami, which I didn't do the percentage, but if you just isolated last year like he did with Bo Nix, it's much better.
Sean Payton would have moved up to get him in the draft. Yeah.
I mean, maybe. It's much better than that. The bad plays, especially, again, like the 12 fumbles in 2023, that's a lot of fumbles at Washington State. 19 fumbles total in those 2 years at Washington State. That's a lot. But again, he also was sacked 85 times in those 2 years. So you can look at it different ways. Did he just have like no help? But also, I think it's fair if you're trying to get an NFL quarterback, understanding the step up in speed and everything of this game and the players I think it's probably a good idea to look at those stats as a quarterback stat,
Yeah. Like it's interesting. Like reading through this, Sean Payton really does not look at the offensive line as a part of this either, right? Like, the sack total obviously counts for the negative play. And according to Wickersham, like Payton doesn't really factor in like if your offensive line is just absolutely atrocious.
Because you know what?
Or if it's really good.
You got to throw the ball away.
Throw the ball.
Yeah.
So
whatever your situation is, you need to find a way to like minimize those negative plays, right?
Exactly. So it looks like, he's found. I'll tell you a couple things that reading this kind of highlights. Number one, it totally explains the Bo Nix pick, right? Because it's like, what did Sean Payton see in Bo Nix that nobody else seemingly did? And, he talks about that in this book. He says, quote, "I'll get criticized for taking him at 12. This was Sean Payton telling him this before he did it. Like he knew that they were going to take Bo Nix. "I'll get criticized for taking him at 12. I don't give a bleep. 3 years from now is what I'm worried about," Sean Payton said. So it explains like what Sean Payton saw and what he was looking at when he took Bo Nix, when nobody thought that Bo Nix was going that high. It also is like, it shows you how important that he believes the processing part is. Like they talk about Drew Brees in this too. And it's like, Drew Brees, I think the phrase they used was had a B arm. Like it's not like Drew Brees had some rocket launcher out there his entire career in New Orleans, but he was able to see things and diagnose things and process things very quickly. And that made all the difference in Sean Payton's.
Drew Brees is a better version of Kirk Cousins. That's what it is, you know. And honestly, I mean, there's a Brady parallel to there,
Yep.
right? Like that's why none of them were all that coveted. I mean, Breeze was the most of those three guys in terms, but you're talking about a 6th rounder, a 4th rounder, 2nd rounder, because you don't have those tools. But the most important tool is your brain.
So what does this tell us about Cam Ward? What does this tell us about how you evaluate a quarterback at the NFL level? We'll continue that discussion coming up next. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Gentry Estes from the Tennessean will be with us at 7 o'clock. We'll get into the Titans, the Vols, Vanderbilt with him. Looking forward to all that coming up. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. I got some tickets to give away. A pair of tickets to see Live and Collective Soul at First Bank Amphitheater this Sunday. Be caller number 4, 615-737-1025. Caller 4 will win a pair of tickets to see Live and Collective Soul at First Bank Amphitheater coming up this Sunday, 615-737-1025. Discussing this piece from Seth Wickersham detailing Sean Payton's quarterback formula and what it means. So what was the number you got for Cam Ward again? 10 point what?
So the number for Cam Ward is 10.6%.
Okay.
With 107 sacks, 22 fumbles, which is a high number, and 23 picks. And again, that's 3 years. I'm not doing incarnate word, counting Washington State, Miami. I will before the show ends. I should have done this during the last break, but I was, I don't know, scrolling the internet. I will come up with one just for last year because, again, they went off, as you pointed out, just the 2 years of Bo Nix at Oregon, which were vastly different years than the years playing quarterback at Auburn.
Yeah.
Where he threw, we were just talking to the break, 16
He had
picks.
16 picks in 3 years at Auburn.
Which is fine, but it's not, I mean, again, the no fumbles at Oregon is still wild to me.
Yeah. Well,
Like no fumbles in 1 year. No fumble, not lost, just fumbles. We're just doing fumbles.
Yeah.
Here.
Nobody ever got to him and like knocked the ball out of his hand in the pocket. It's like, all right, good.
And never, because he ran a fair amount too. You know,
Yeah.
He's a good runner. The ball never popped loose.
Well, I mean, look, I'm sure if people did a deep dive on this, you're going to find some examples of quarterbacks that maybe by Sean Payton's formula don't have a great processing speed in college that have gone on to the NFL and that have really figured it out. You'll probably find some the other way too, right? Where you look at it and you're like, wow, in college, I mean, their bad play ratio was like 6%, and they got in the NFL and they can't complete a pass out there. So what's the deal? But it isn't like he clearly believes in this, right? Like he clearly believes that this is a big thing. And I think, you know, obviously Drew Brees and the skill set that he specifically brought to the table in New Orleans impacts you of how you view your quarterbacks moving forward. But I mean, I had not heard, and I don't know if it's exactly original to this book or not. I had not heard about the Sean Payton Mahomes stuff.
Yeah, neither did I.
And I mean, it is interesting to think about.
He'd be there still.
Like if Kansas City doesn't jump up to make that trade, how different is NFL history if Mahomes is in New Orleans taking over for Brees?
Breeze to freaking Mahomes.
Yeah.
My God. Would that be the greatest 1-2 punch? I mean, I know you got Favre to Rodgers.
Yeah.
Is Favre to Rodgers the best consecutive QB?
It's probably up there.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
I mean, we
imagine,
thought
right?
that Manning to Luck was going to be that, and then Luck just didn't play long enough.
Was that directly Manning? Wasn't there somebody in between though too? For a year?
No. Well, Manning got hurt for a year, so there was somebody playing,
like Curtis Painter or
Yes,
somebody.
Yeah. So, but
Sorgi.
yeah.
There
But
you
like
go.
their plan of who their starting quarterback went from Manning.
I guess
to Luck.
that's true. Yeah, if you're counting that, then yeah, that could have been the best. But I think Favre Rodgers is definitely better than that. I mean, Favre Rodgers are both Hall of Fame quarterbacks. So
Locker to Mariota, Mettenberger to Mariota.
Oh boy, yeah,
Probably not.
I'm trying to think here. Some other buttes.
Levis to Ward.
The Lions have some great ones. You know, it's like Jeff Comlow to Eric Hipple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mahomes, Breeze to Mahomes. Sean Payton would be sitting there. He'd be counting super. I mean, I believe it because, you know, again, Andy Reid, and that's the funny thing too, as pointed out in the story. Sometimes we forget Andy Reid's great and all that. Before Mahomes, Andy Reid was absolutely he runs some good offense and he's
good
a smart
coach.
guy.
He
He screws up in-game coaching and now all of a sudden, he's one of the all-time greats because of the quarterback.
Yeah.
Breeze to Rivers, no, that doesn't count. People are now throwing these out. Montana Young is good. I mean, Montana Young is that's a heck of a debate, actually. Montana Young or Favre Rodgers. More Super Bowls, Montana Young.
Yep.
I would argue that, well, I would argue that Young, Rodgers, and Favre are all more talented than Montana, but I know some people don't want to hear that
Yep.
stuff. That's a very good one.
That's good. It's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, it's, there's not a long list of consecutive quarterback runs like that, right? So,
well, after
it's
Levis
amazing to think about.
After Levis goes somewhere into Jacksonville
That's
and
true.
go and we're going to be talking about the Levis Cam Ward
Yeah.
back to back. Like, oh my goodness, how could that happen for one franchise?
I mean, there was a time around here where we thought that's what it was going to be. McNair to Young. Like, it's exactly what there's like.
That's right.
McNair
That's right.
he's our guy, league MVP. And now Vince is here to take the mantle and run.
Yeah. That should have been.
Out.
It should have been. That should have been a great combo.
Didn't quite work out that way. Did not quite work out that way. So, look, I don't know what this is going to mean for Cam Ward. It is interesting that, this is a large, and I'm not saying it's everything for Sean Payton, but it's clearly a large part of how he evaluates a quarterback is how does simply just adding up the attempts, the interceptions, the fumbles, the sacks, and dividing those. Like, how does that influence the way you view a quarterback's processing? Like, it sounds frankly like pretty simple, right? Like, you look at it and you're like, wow, you're just doing a little bit of adding up and dividing going on right there, and that's how you do it. But it's an interesting way to look at quarterback. And again, like when they took Bo Nix, I think a lot of people around the NFL were stunned by that. And if you go just by this formula, it makes sense why they did. And we'll see what Bo Nix looks like in year 2.
So it's funny. This is just coming to mind with New Orleans. The New Orleans, I just talked about S2. Well, the New Orleans Saints, and one of the great drafts of all time, or certainly in Saints history, they were one of the first. They were one of the first clients of S2. So not only does Sean, and I don't know now if Denver is, because I think they do. I think they're doing 2 per division now. But Sean Payton was an early proponent of S2 and used them. So not only did he have his own stats, so he can show people, say these stats, but he was actually utilizing the tests. I mean, again, processing, any sort of way that you can judge processing. That's formerly he's just got it. He's just got that special something.
Yep.
No, it's brain speed. It's your brain 40 time. That's what it is.
Well, and then the other big question that is like, how much can that improve when you get to the NFL? Like, how much can processing pick up at the NFL level? And that's where I think you'll probably find some varied answers to that question. Like, I'm sure there have been people that have really improved on that front as their careers go. But that largely, to me, kind of feels like something that you've either got it or you don't at that point.
Yeah. Like, how much can you improve your 40 time? Some. Like, if you come in the league and you're, a D tackle who's 50 pounds overweight, then you can improve it from 5'9" to 5'5". But I think that's mostly built in. So I think there are a lot of things. There are a lot of factors, including what's around you too, right? Because I don't know the situation with Washington State. Like if Cam Ward's numbers are so much better, and that's why the actual judge or the test processing, I think, are important. Because so why did it get so much better? Did Cam Ward get that much faster on his feet, or is it just like, Washington State, especially his first year, they couldn't block a soul,
right?
But again, that is I do. You have to be resourceful playing that position to be like, okay, well, I know I don't have protection, so my clock has to be 1.5 seconds, not 3 seconds like, my counterpart at Washington.
Heard from McEwen says Montana the greatest ever. Does Joe Montana make your list of top 10 greatest quarterbacks of all time? Or is he there with Brady somewhere hovering in the 20s?
Yeah. No, Montana is a really interesting case because Montana was a great quarterback. There's no doubt. And I think about the clutch drives. I mean, so many big plays in NFL history. I also think that Joe Montana is one of the biggest beneficiaries of great coaching and cutting edge offensive coaching in the history of the NFL. I mean, what Bill Walsh did with the West Coast offense, which still is the dominant offense. And I mean, it's the Shanahan version of it, but it's the Mike Shanahan version, but it's still the dominant offense in the NFL. And so you go back to the late 70s. I mean, I'm not trying to be a Montana hater, but this is where I think these conversations get interesting because I think Steve Young is a way more special talent than Joe Montana. But a lot of people who would argue that Steve Young's a better quarterback. Montana did more, won more rings, right?
So what you're saying is Brady and Montana somewhere in the 20s. All right, good.
No, Brady is easily number one in
Dan Fouts a distant
AFC East
notch
history.
above both of them.
By the way, Dan Fouts was out there the other night, the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, of course he was.
Yeah, they interviewed Dan.
Of course he
was.
was.
Montana's a really fascinating case because I think some people are. I've heard people say, "Oh, he's the best ever." I'm like, I have a hard time with that, man.
You want to know why you want to tune in this program? You're not going to find a sports show anywhere else that has Tom Brady as like the 20th best quarterback of all time, Joe Montana somewhere below that, and Michael Jordan is like the 50th or 60th best basketball player ever. That's what Rexrode believes.
Oh, Jordan's definitely a top 10 shooting guard.
615.
Hold on, Ed, real quick. Ed says, look at Montana's Super Bowl stats. Close your eye. Yeah, did you see that he was throwing against the Denver Broncos with like an arena football league defense? I mean, like any of us could have arm punted for 400 yards in that Super Bowl.
There we go.
Get
in there. Zach Mettenberger, Joe Montana. Gentry Estes will be with us coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. And we are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Let's head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend Gentry Estes from the Tennessean. Gentry, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Good to be with you.
Good.
Bright and early sunny morning here at the Tennessee Titans football complex.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very bright, very early. We just realized, Gentry, that Rexrode doesn't seem to have Joe Montana or Tom Brady on his top 20 quarterbacks of all time. So it's a hot start to this morning.
Whatever. They're both.
I know. I was listening to that, and I was thinking to myself, Montana Young. As soon as y'all started talking about that, that would have been mine.
It's pretty hard to beat.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good one.
Montana Young probably beats Favre Rodgers.
I would say so. Yeah.
Because, Favre would be fourth, right?
I'd say so. Yeah.
So all due respect to you. All due respect to you.
Remember, I'm saying with all due respect.
All due respect to reverse Robin Hood.
Yeah, thank you.
We all love volleyball.
Yes, we do. So, Gentry, it's no secret the offense has struggled to this point in camp for the Titans. You had Brian Callahan, yelling at the offense walking off the field the other day. So, what do you make of the struggles to this point, and has it reached a point where there is, I guess, significant concern in your mind about the offensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, some of this stuff I think you can explain away as a rookie quarterback. They're throwing a lot at him. A lot of blitz packages and things that he's not really seeing pre-snap. I think some of that stuff you would expect, obviously, at this point, but you would also hope it would be getting better by now. I think that was a little alarming. I think the offense had a good practice on Saturday, so you would have hoped, if you're on that side of the ball, to kind of continue some of that momentum, and that just didn't happen. I mean, the defense dominated, and it'll be interesting to see what it looks like today, because they're going to practice today and then immediately go to Tampa. And I think that's if you're still struggling this bad offensively against the Bucs and against the Falcons next week, if the preseason games are kind of a mess, I mean, I think you'd have to be concerned at that point. If for no other reason than you just want your rookie quarterback to have some confidence, right?
Is there any scenario in which you would entertain, okay, guys, let's huddle up. Maybe just why do we have to throw him out there? We're playing the long game. Is there any, issue that if you throw him out there right away, maybe we should pivot and just wait until it's the right time this season? Would you entertain that if you're the Titans?
As long as he's healthy, no, I wouldn't. I think you have to play Cam Ward, and I think they're committed to playing Cam Ward. I don't think that's really, on the table at this point, and for a lot of reasons. But I feel like you have a team full of players who want him to be the quarterback and have spent this offseason expecting him to be the quarterback and excited about what he can do. You need to allow him to learn and grow and make mistakes, and I think that's what's happening right now. Ideally, if you're the Titans, you could take it easy on him in practice, make him feel good. I mean, you could. Hugh Freeze talked about doing that at Auburn, for Arnold coming in for Oklahoma just to get his confidence up. So that does happen, but the Titans haven't done that. I mean, defensively, they've thrown a lot at him, and I think ideally you would like to see him learn from it and make some mistakes, overcome the adversity, and then feel more confident that way. They just haven't gotten there yet.
So on the offensive side, obviously we know Ridley is the one. I know it's the unofficial depth chart, and it means basically next to nothing as it relates to NFL teams here. But the six guys that they've come out with that are kind of like in first in line, and Bryce Oliver's in that. Obviously, the 2 4th rounders are in it. Jefferson, Lockett, Ridley. Like it feels like to me that's probably going to be what their 6 looks like here. I know James Prochet has made some plays in camp at this point, but how do you view kind of exactly where you think they are with their wide receiver group right now and your most interesting kind of battles there for the rest of camp?
Yeah. Bryce Oliver, I think, is positioning himself well. He's having another good camp, and I know he had a good camp last year. So I think he's the guy that would be kind of on that bubble, I guess. Maybe a guy like Restrepo. That to me is probably a practice squad guy. I think they can probably get away with sneaking him onto the practice squad, maybe a couple others. But the depth chart, no, it doesn't mean anything at this point. But I think what they do, at least here, is I think you have people who are just watching practice, who see the rotations guys are in and who's first unit, second unit, and then it ends up looking like that on the depth chart. I think it's that way today. It doesn't mean it'll be that way a week from now and so on. But I do think it's an accurate gauge of where it stands at this moment.
So Brian Callahan, trends positive, right? I mean, that's we know this about him. He's, for the most part, not that there's a lot of coaches out there like, yeah, this sucks, that sucks. Maybe Vrabel did that sometimes, but yeah, he trends positive. We know that he got upset, the other day, Gentry. Do you sense any sort of, I guess, like frustration level with him? What do you expect? Maybe a little bit more frank talk about where they are at this point today when he talks.
It was a little unsettling just because you never look. Brian Callahan could go in there and do that every day and just rip guys in meetings, and we would never know it. But the reaction and what we saw at practice on Sunday, I've not seen from him. I can tell you that. I mean, it was an indication that, yeah, I do think there's a level of frustration here that maybe we haven't seen before from him. Now, do I think he's going to come in and express that publicly? Probably not. I mean, Brian Callahan is about as positive publicly as any coach could be. I mean, you can. When you cover the Titans, if you notice one thing or see one player out there, it doesn't really matter who it is, and say, you know what, that was a good play, I'm going to write about that player. And you went and asked Brian Callahan about that player, he's going to have something nice to say. It doesn't matter who it is. So I think publicly that'll probably stay the same. But, privately and just seeing how he was at the end of that practice, making guys do wind sprints. And, and by the way, why did the defense have to do wind sprints?
Yeah.
That's the part I didn't understand. Defense had a great day.
Making the offense look bad.
Simmons is yelling. Cody Barton's yelling. The defense was feeling great, and then they had to get out there and run sprints.
Oh man, Gentry, on the Tennessee front, obviously you're looking at a quarterback competition for Josh Heupel that he's got to sort through in fall camp. You got receivers at this point dropping like flies, with Matthews dealing with something. You got Braylon Staley that's now dealing with something. What do you make of kind of where the offense is and your expectation level for the offense, particularly to begin this season, having no idea at this point who's going to take the opening snap at quarterback for Tennessee when they take on Syracuse?
I mean, yeah, the receivers are that's a concern. It was a concern anyway, but if you're not healthy there, you're starting to wonder what it's going to look like. And I think, maybe we'll learn something about the quarterbacks here as we go if they stop blurring them out in the videos they put out.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, goodness gracious. But I think there's probably a legitimate concern in that building right now about what things look like offensively, and there would be. You're bringing in a guy in Aguilar who has not been with your program. He doesn't have any rapport with the players, and you're probably asking him to be the guy. And if he's not the guy, now you got to scramble and go a direction you didn't want to go in the first place, or else you wouldn't have brought in Aguilar. So either way, right now, it's I would imagine there's some real concern about where things are headed. Now, it doesn't mean he can't get where he needs to be in time for the first game, which I actually don't think is that challenging a game for Tennessee. But I feel like, at this point, you'd like to have your receivers out there for sure.
Speaking of Tennessee, I'm just curious. I've seen some people talking about this morning again. You had a good column on the 88-year-old season ticket holder who was, I know, promised a long time ago, like the price would stay the same, which of course we know what college sports is, but also it's wild to me that like he's got to pay like 3 times his season ticket price or get bounced to the very top of Thompson Bowling. What's the reaction been like since that column published?
I'll be honest. I've gotten about as much a reaction on that one as anything I've written in a while. That one has seemed to resonate with a lot of people, and I think it's because you could really. This is one of those rare instances in sports where I think you see both sides. You can have a strong take on both sides here. From the standpoint of, I don't think what Tennessee did, the University of Tennessee did, was anything different than what most schools are doing right now, because you need more money to pay players to win games. So I think for the fan base wants that. They want to win games, and the AD is paid to win games. The coaches are paid to win games. That's why this sort of thing is happening. But yet, when you drill down into one specific instance like this, that just makes you sad. A guy who has that kind of, a guy who's been around the program that long, and to be treated this way, no one likes that. It's a bad look, and I think both sides you could certainly make a case for. Now, in this specific instance, the interesting part to me was, when you think about it, it's like, oh, okay, this is where college sports are headed, and we can be sad about this. The guy got these tickets by originally donating money,
right?
Like in the early 80s to build Thompson Bowling. So I know the prices have gone up, but it's still, college sports have still kind of always been here.
But you know what they need to do, honestly, real quick, is they need to grandfather in those people. And other schools have done that too, where it's like, okay, you got the people who in 50 years, you have an exception. That's what they got to do. And Danny White should
Tennessee
do that very publicly now.
Yeah, Tennessee was doing that, and now they've changed it. That's what created it. Like, they didn't raise ticket prices 300%. They raised 300% on this guy and the others like him that had been paying a certain rate.
Yeah.
Yep. Gentry, great stuff as always, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning, and we will talk to you soon.
Yeah, you bet. Take care, guys.
We'll react to what Gentry had to say. Coming up next, take your thoughts, 615-737-1025, our phone number. Brian Callahan will be speaking later this hour. We will get that live for you here on the program. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. This week's Nashville's best deal is Boombah's Pizza and Watch Bar. Award-winning gourmet pizzas, handcrafted beverages, and you can get swept up in the thrill of live sports at Boombah's Pizza and Watch Bar, your go-to spot for good times. Boombah's has locations in Nashville, Spring Hill, and Murfreesboro, so get half off a $30 gift card while supplies last at thegamenashville.com/deals. We will have Brian Callahan live for you here in about 20 minutes or so. We'll see what time he walks
If
up
he's
the podium
on
today.
time.
See what time he walks up there today.
Be prompt today. People have been waiting for days
If
to
he's-
hear from you.
If he's still really mad, maybe he gets up there early. Maybe he's like, I got some things to say today. Let's get up here about 7:37.
I'm sure that'll happen.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it'll be a real spicy press conference today from him. You have the updated Cam Ward numbers in our quarterback formula discussion from just last year at Miami.
Yeah, so if you're listening earlier, if not, I'll quickly recap. This is like the Sean Payton formula that helped him want to select Patrick Mahomes, helped him select Bo Nix, and it's basically your percentage of your attempts that involve, and then you divide the fumbles, picks, and sacks. So Mahomes, 8.1% in his Texas Tech career. So if you take Cam Ward, who was at 10.6 for his whole career, if you take him just last year, 454 attempts, 22 sacks, 3 fumbles, 7 picks. That is a 7.0%. So that's a very good number.
Very good.
That would be a number that Sean Payton would look at and say, okay, this guy, and again, to Sean Payton, those negative plays in his mind, the lower the percentage, the quicker your processing is to avoid such things. It's not perfect, but I think there's something to it.
I would love to see Hendon Hooker's number from his 2 years at Tennessee and what that would look like.
That's a good point.
I bet it's pretty good.
That's a great point. I might do that before the show ends.
But it's pretty good.
Yeah, and again, so there you go. And I'm not giving up on Hendon Hooker. I was disappointed in him last week. Hendon Hooker, I think more than anything, because again, you go back to the Baylor guys who had the ridiculous numbers in that same offense. I mean, Josh Heupel needs one of these guys to be good in the NFL. And I thought Hendon Hooker was going to be that guy, be like, okay, we can stop talking about how the Bryles system, you can't have a good NFL quarterback out of it. Hendon, because you're right. His numbers will be absurdly good, and he can't get on the field.
Well, maybe it's up to Joe Milton. We're going to see Milton this weekend. Cowboys Rams in the preseason. So maybe he's the one.
He can throw it through a wall, man. I mean, he actually probably has decent numbers too, although he got sacked, I'd say, more than Hendon Hooker did for sure.
Kuharski says he has no idea what that number means based on your quick, poor explanation.
Okay. All right, that's fair. That's fair. As much as I'd like to rip Kuharski. Okay, I will again tell you, and I'll do it fast. Sean Payton this is what he did. First of all, you haven't read this piece yet, Kuharski. It's like the number one story on ESPN.com for the last 2 days, and you cover the NFL. Good job. Okay, so this is your total number of attempts, and then you take your sacks, your fumbles, not fumbles lost, your fumbles, your sacks, and your interceptions. You divide those negative plays into your attempts, and you come up with a percentage of negative plays. To Sean Payton, that tells you the lower the better, right? Obviously, the fewer sacks,
It's like
fewer
golf.
fumbles.
You want a low score.
Yeah, the lower percentage of your attempts that involve negative plays, the better. And to him, speaks to your processing. So Cam Ward last year was 7.0%. Patrick Mahomes in his career, 8.1%, and that number convinced Sean Payton.
At Texas Tech. Yeah.
At Texas Tech, convinced Sean Payton he was going to take him at 11. He was going to be his next quarterback. Bo Nix at Oregon only was 2.3,
which is really an absurd number.
It's an absurd number. So if you don't get it now, Kuharski, I'm struggling. I think that your grasp of the English language may be failing a little bit. Let me know.
You better watch out. You're gonna get him fired up by the time Callahan walks in there. You'll be good. He'll be in a bad mood by the time Callahan walks up on the podium.
This is like Harbaugh taking the quarterback's shoulder, hit him on the shoulder. Let's go, Kuharski. Have some tough ones, baby.
I need Glennon today. I need Glennon to come through for me today. Brian, your thoughts on Trey Avery signing in New England?
Would you play New England, or will you be avoiding Trey Avery?
Back in the day, nobody used to use Revis Island. Are you afraid of Avery Island out there? It's like, we are not throwing the ball in the direction of Trey Avery today. It will not happen.
All right, if he's on and if he's only playing special teams, well, we're going to avoid that side of the field too.
Somebody said PK with slow processing speed.
By the way, I'm getting crap from Ed, man. I mean, Ed already has this terrible, like, oh, the NBA in the 80s was just as good. But Ed's just, he can't believe that I think that John Elway and Dan Marino are better quarterbacks than Joe Montana.
I'd say it's an interesting debate.
He said, what makes them the better? They had stronger arms. Do I need to like replay John Elway and Dan Marino their careers for you?
One texter says Hooker isn't good. If he never played for the Vols, you'd never mention him past the draft. Y'all wanted him to be good so bad. I feel for you. Dude's a bum. I mean, I will say, yes, if Hendon Hooker played for like Indiana, we probably would not be talking about it. But we do have,
we're a sports show in the state of Tennessee.
So yes, you're on to us.
Wow.
We got him, the Tennessee quarterback we talk about.
I tell you what, this is a Colts fan too. So I'm sorry. We'll try to talk more about Indiana sports for you.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Quick Rex rant coming up next. Brian Callahan speaking here in just a few minutes. We'll have that live for you as well. All that coming up. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Well, real grown up of you.
A lot of very handsome women. I'm not very good at assessing bodies with shirts on. The lower area is perfectly covered.
Am I a clown to you, Mike?
Trey, ever need to show you anything?
And what about Andre Dillard? What do you think about Andre Dillard?
Joe liked that one. It was a layup, Joe.
Thanks, Braves.
It is really unbelievable how good Ian is at this stuff. Like, it's crazy. Ian is the I was going to say Michael Jordan, but I guess around you I'd have to say Isaiah Thomas.
There you go.
Dan Fouts, or you can't say Brady. Ian's the GOAT. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's good. The Fouts, the Isaiah, both great point guards.
Yeah.
All-time greats. So first of all, I need to address this. Someone texted this when Gentry mentioned the blurred out quarterback. So apparently it was Miles Kitselman. I do have confirmation from inside the Tennessee program.
They're blurring out on their videos. Congratulations, Miles.
So
do we owe an apology to Josh Heupel?
Was it are we gonna have a Miles Kitselman pass and he threw the pass? And so they're trying to blur it out because they don't know video out there of
I'll be
their tight end.
Totally honest with you. That makes me feel a lot better. A lot better. If he was the one throwing that ball. It's like,
blur out
Aguilar.
Good.
He underthrew one by 5 yards. Who was it? Oh, it was a tight end. That I can deal with.
Blur out Joey, guys. We can't let people know. This has to be fast. I'm just going to tell you real quick. And I could actually rant. Ed still hasn't responded to me because, it's just absurd that we would even – this is really a problem. There's just no question that Joe Montana is a better quarterback than Dan Marino and John Elway because he has more rings. That's what we're doing. We're going to be that reductive. We're going to take it all the way down to just count up your rings for me. Well, Dan Marino has none. Is Dan Marino one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time? Or does he not belong in the top million because he's never won a Super Bowl ring?
Who's better, Brad Johnson or Dan Marino?
Exactly. Per Ed's logic, Brad Johnson. So I guess but really what I was mad about today is there was this thing on Twitter about Brady.
It always comes back to it.
I know. But the whole thing was, if you didn't think that Tom Brady, had the say in not taking Shedeur Sanders, watch this, and it was like the guy they drafted in the 6th round.
Yeah.
But what makes me mad is all the B-roll, all the video was Tom Brady in his Raiders gear on the sideline, looking like the guy who's in charge of the whole thing.
Yeah. I've seen some
and
of those
he's
videos.
a freaking – again, how are we letting him be a bad announcer for the NFL?
He got better.
Right, but he shouldn't be an announcer at all.
Right.
Yeah, he got better from bad to okay. So you're force-feeding this guy who's not that good. He's famous. He's famous. We love him. Yeah, everybody knows him. But you're force-feeding him, and he shouldn't even be allowed to announce for the NFL. It's infuriating.
He did have a lot of Raiders gear on the other day. It was head to toe Raiders gear.
Yeah, that's what he is. Yeah. I don't want anybody else who is running a team to be doing NFL broadcasts. It's absurd. I don't care if John Madden's like the greatest of all time, right? And even if you go back to like when he was coaching the Raiders, would we have wanted John Madden to do the TV? No, we would not have. Now he retired, you're fine. Well, Tom Brady's not retired. He's running the Raiders. How is he announcing? And he's not good.
Oh, man.
What is Adam Portland saying? Joe's hot fakes. It's like hot takes with clear design to make people angry with false information. That's enough out of you, Adam Portland.
Somebody said
Dilfer, better than Marino.
Somebody said Brad Johnson probably at home drinking a cup of coffee. Just caught it straight. Hey, man. Brad Johnson, Super Bowl winning quarterback. Nobody will ever be able to take that away from him. Ever.
That's right. Okay. Okay. So this is the new thing.
Long fuse.
Apparently Austin Price said this. I'm trying to get – so Tennessee claims because they have a policy of not showing players not cleared due to injury. Merklinger threw the pass, according to Austin Price.
Okay. Now I'm back to feeling bad again.
I guess you feel good about Joey Aguilar. He's going to be the starter.
I guess so.
So it's because
whoever threw the pass, throw it better next time.
So Merklinger's banged up.
Kitzelman.
Right.
Yeah.
Kitzelman's banged up.
I believe Merklinger is completely healthy.
So the blur has nothing to do with, my God, all of it.
It's like
help me.
Zapruder film out there.
It's help me out.
Jeez, what's going on? It's probably been better off just leaving it alone. Just don't blur anything. Nobody would ever talk about it.
Yeah, like what is it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I need to. Yeah, the logic on that is mind-boggling. But it's made for quite a bunch of fun conversation this week.
So some people think your hatred of Tom Brady seems personal.
It's not personal at all. In fact, I like Tom Brady a lot.
Michigan.
No, that's the thing.
That's what it is. Yes.
I covered Tom Brady in college, and I've said this before. I'm like, hey, Lloyd Carr, have you noticed that he's really good now? And like, you should play him? Oh no, let's bring in Drew Henson. He's way more talented than Tom Brady. No, I was actually a supporter of Tom Brady. I love Tom Brady. I don't want him announcing. He's not very good, and he's running a team, and he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I don't think that ring counting is the only thing you do when you assess great players. Again, Charles Barkley and Dan Marino suck. They don't belong in any kind of discussion. They have no rings. It's stupid.
We'll have Brian Callahan's press conference coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. For those wondering, Paul Kuharski is going to be back with us on a weekly basis now here on the program. So excited to have PK back in the fold with us. Normally will be with us on Wednesdays. He is not with us today. Obviously, the Titans are about to get out there and practice. So he is at the press conference. PK will be with us on Friday for an hour, live from Tampa Bay, kind of reacting to joint practices between the Titans and the Bucs, and obviously looking ahead to the preseason game coming up this weekend. So we will have PK back in the fold with us. Normally on Wednesdays, it won't be today because the Titans are practicing, but he will be with us Friday on the show.
Yeah, and there may be other movement, depending on the Titans schedule before we get to the actual season.
Yep.
But for the most part, we'll zero in on Wednesday.
We said we got the first Jim Wyatt britches report yesterday.
Yeah.
Decked out in all white coming up on Saturday in the preseason game, which I think is their best look. So first britches report of the season.
Well done.
That's when you know football's back, baby.
That's right.
The britches report.
So we're still waiting on Callahan, right?
We are.
Well, Cosmo said, hey, are you aware that Montana beat both Elway and Marino in the Super Bowl? How could you say they were better QBs? What did I say, Robbie? I put it in all caps. Nick Foles beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Guess we know Nick Foles is better than Tom Brady. Thanks, Cosmo. Appreciate that. Thanks for your help.
Hey, I mean, still the greatest coach game in the NFL I think I've ever seen.
Now he's asking me. No, I agree. Now he's asking me if I was even born and I watch Montana. Seriously, dude, you don't realize I'm an angry old man?
To answer your question, I was not born when Montana was in his heyday.
Yeah, like when you were born was right around the time he went to the Chiefs, and they were like, "Oh, now the Chiefs are going to win all these Super Bowls." What happened?
Hey, it's not as simple as just ring counting. Now, if you want to get specifically into Brady, pretty much any argument you want to put him in, he's going to be near the top.
Sure,
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that.
I know.
The only thing I've said with Brady, like I've said that I believe the best quarterback I've seen play in the NFL is Peyton Manning.
Yep.
When he was at his absolute best, I think that's the height of quarterback playing in the NFL. But he didn't do it nearly as long as Brady, so I can't.
Peyton Manning.
Thank you, Bev.
Can't. I mean, Peyton Manning had, and I give him credit for that Super Bowl with the Broncos. That's big time. That was an incredible defense, right? Like it was not the Manning carrying a team like it was when he was with the Colts.
No doubt. I mean, look, the bottom line is we know as great as Brady was and as great as a lot of these quarterbacks are, if you really look at the dynamics of NFL football and a football team, it's not just as simple as, well, quarterback, it's the head-to-head quarterback out there. It's a big part of it.
Who won the game?
There's no doubt. It's a big part of it. But it's not just as simple as quarterback. Now,
I want winners.
Exactly. Do I think it's a coincidence that Brady won 7 Super Bowls? No, he's pretty darn good, right? Like,
No
I mean, he's, he was the elevator.
Not as good as Eli Manning, but he's pretty freaking good.
Apparently not.
Who beat him twice, by the way.
Apparently not. Let's head out to St. Thomas Sports Park. It looks like Brian Callahan has stepped up to the podium.
I love that Titans music.
It's kind of awesome.
Good morning. Really excited for today to get on the road, get a chance to go about 9 days on the road and go play against some other teams, get some joint practices tomorrow at Tampa, get a chance to go to Atlanta. Really excited about the opportunity for our team to be on the road together. That's sort of the intent of the whole trip. Spend some time, get a chance to grow together, and then get to go play against some other teams. And one of the things that I'm really looking for is what do those teams say about us when we leave? What do they say about how we play, the intensity we practice with? Those are all things that we get a chance to go make an imprint of what our team can be this year. And that's the starting point. Get a chance to go play against somebody else and show what we're all about and go compete, which would be really fun. And get a chance to do some things as a team on the road, some events together, things like that. It's something I'm really looking forward to. Can't wait.
What will those practices look like, I guess, starting in Tampa? A lot like these, but just working on separate fields, different units?
Yeah, it'll be just pretty similar to a practice here, points of emphasis. On a one-day practice with Tampa will be a little bit different than a 2-day practice with Atlanta. You get it. The 2 days give you some chances to break some things up, but you'll see all the major situations. You'll see some third down. You'll see red zone. You'll see 2-minute. All the stuff that we work here every day. It'd be good to go against somebody else.
Do you
had an uncharacteristic blow up after the last practice. Was that just frustration mounting because of the offensive struggles, or just something to get the offensive spark?
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. Probably more so than anything else is a chance to teachable moment. There's adversity that you're going to face during the course of a season. For us, we had 5 out of 6 days in pads. It was hard. Guys were tired, and it came down to the last period, and it really was just the last period of practice that I just wanted to see a different response in the moment, and it was a good chance to point it out and talk about what we need in the future. And I think just going through that moment allows you to grow from it. So it was a really, I think, teachable moment at the end of the day, and uncharacteristic. You guys don't see me every day all the time, but sometimes you gotta turn it up a little bit.
Did you get from that, Brian? The players said anything to you about that?
Yeah, I think all of them recognized what we were looking for, especially from an offensive execution perspective in that moment, and they know exactly what it is. And I don't think any of them were surprised by it, and I don't think anybody would have expected any less, to be honest, because we hold ourselves to a higher standard, and we needed to perform better in the moment. And the good thing is it's August 4th or 5th or whatever day it was, and we got a lot of work still to go, and it was a good moment for us. I think it was necessary.
Get Quandre back, and how does he kind of fit into your safety group?
Yeah, I'm really excited to have Quandre back. I'm a huge fan of his. I'd been with him in Detroit for 2 years, and obviously having him here this year, he's a pro's pro. He's an outstanding leader. He's a good football player, and so I think we're always open to adding good football players to our team, and he's certainly, we had an opportunity to bring him back, and he was interested in coming back, so he's here and ready to roll, and I'm thrilled that we have him here. The safety rotation is still going to be what it is, but it's good for the competition. It's good for our football team.
I've seen the defense have the upper hand.
What's your plan with Cam in the first preseason?
Yeah, we're going to play. Our starters are going to play. We're going to play in all 3 preseason games. That's just like we did last year, similar process. The joint practices do change a little bit of how much, you kind of gauge how physical the practice is and how much those guys might need, but they're going to play in every game, and we're going to let Cam play. So he's going to be on the field playing football. Hard to say how much at the moment. We'll work through that as we get to the practice tomorrow, but I would imagine for sure a series and maybe 2 in the first game with the starters. So he'll play.
Brian,
I'll come back. We'll come back.
Defenses, we've seen them have the upper hand a lot out here in these training camp practices. How eager are you to see them tested by a pretty potent Buccaneers offense with Mayfield and those receivers?
I think it's great. We get a chance to go against 2, I think, really talented offensive teams. When you look at their roster and their talent, and Tampa Bay was a playoff team last year. They won 10 games. They've done a really good job. So to go against Baker and that skill group they have there, which is incredibly talented, it's a good offensive line. It's going to be a great test for us, and that's why I look forward to these joint practices. Is you get to measure against somebody else, and you get to see how you respond against different competition in a different color jersey. Really excited about that, but certainly a stiff test for the defense, because that's a good operation there on offense.
One instance at the end of last practice.
Yeah.
How would you rate the offense so far this camp, and is it close to what you would like to see, or is it pretty far away?
No, we're still striving to get better and hit a certain mark. I think the growth that I think Cam's shown in the last couple of days from that particular process, I think has been really, really encouraging. There's a particular way you have to play quarterback in the NFL, and I think he's figuring out how to balance that with how he's played in the past, and we're trying to mesh those styles together for him, and he's done a great job with it. So there's still growth to be had. We're not where we need to be, certainly, but that's the fun part of training camp. And I think as we stack some practices against some different defenses, I think it'll be fun to see where we're at. I feel good about our trajectory, and I feel good about the process that we have going, and we got to keep pushing to perform.
Preseason, you look back at last year's preseason games in terms of, like you talked about, playing starters and everything else, and things that you say, okay, I want to change this from maybe my first year.
I liked how we went about the process in the preseason last year. I felt like we were ready to play when the opening game. I think that's the key is your team in the right place to go play football for real. And we came out pretty pretty hot in the first part of that Chicago game, and I felt like we were ready to go play. And so the process there, I think is the right one to play. And I think playing is important, and I wouldn't change much. We might play a little bit more potentially on offense just because we have a young quarterback that needs to see a little bit of action. So we feel like he's really ready to roll. And he's got enough experience that we potentially week one isn't an eye opener. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel good about how we did it last year. It's going to be pretty similar, but we're still going to play in the preseason.
What success is, or what success looks like in the preseason when you're trying to look at it so much?
Yeah, it's hard because it's not real, what I mean by that is your starters may be out there against the other team's twos. You're not going to see their fastballs. They're not going to see their game plan. All of those things lead to a hard gauge. It's still a football game. It's not practice, but it's also not a real football game either when it comes to game plans and pressure packages and all that stuff. So what you're looking for is guys to execute the techniques and the system at its core. So it's really more about what we're doing and how we do it. That's what you look for. And you look for us executing that at a high level, regardless of, again, who you're playing against or what's out there. You want that to look like you have you're executing things well the way you want them executed. Again, the score is sort of irrelevant to me. It's more about watching guys play and seeing them play real football and see who shows up.
Ryan, you brought in Mike McCoy. Has he been everything that you expected and hoped for bringing him to the staff?
Yeah, Mike's been fantastic. Such a wealth of experience in the league, experience as a head coach, experience as a coordinator, really good person, sounding board for me, someone to lean on. He's great. He's just a great person on top of it. I love being around him. I think everybody else does too. He loves football. And truthfully, for a guy that's had the experiences that he's had and this, been a head coach and all those things, and for him to come in the role he's in with the humility to take on the role and just want to help. He just loves football and wants to be around and wants to lend a helping hand wherever he can help us at the end of the day. So love Mike, love having him here. I think he's been an asset for us so far.
When you go up against your own team day in and day out there, obviously hungry to go up against another team, what's the conversation you have going down there just to make sure it doesn't get too high, too heated out there?
Well, the league doesn't want fights at joint practices. That's pretty clear. We have pretty straightforward rules in place, and I won't share those necessarily exactly what they are, but we shouldn't have any of those problems. I want guys to compete. You want to sort of live on that edge a bit, but at the end of the day, if it boils over to anything else, it's illegal. You can't do it in a game. You shouldn't do it in practice. I hope it's spirited. I hope it's competitive, but there's a line that you can't cross. And I think both me and Coach Bowles and their team are all on the same page as we're trying to get together, get some great work, and not have anything silly happen in the process.
Who's out of practice today, and do you have anybody that won't practice against the Bucks?
We'll see about the Bucks today. The same couple guys are out. I'll just make sure I have it accurate. Hance is still returning. He's getting better, but he'll be out today. Brewer, he's getting better. He'll be out today. Carlos Watkins will be out today. Kevin Winston will be out today, and then Quandre will be out here, but we'll manage Quandre. He hasn't practiced as much as these guys have, so he'll be out and doing some things, but he probably won't participate in the full practice at the moment. Sweat should be out here. He should be good to go.
Thanks, Coach.
All good.
Thank you.
There you go. That's Brian Callahan live from Titans practice. A couple interesting tidbits that he shared there. We will get into those coming up next. Take your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game, broadcasting from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Wednesday morning. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Brian Callahan just wrapped up his press conference. Joe, a couple interesting things on that front. Number one, he did confirm that the starters are going to play in the preseason. Not that that is a huge surprise. Now, to what degree they play, we'll see. It kind of made it sound like in the first game it could be maybe a series or two for Cam Ward and the starters.
It was so exciting for a minute there. Like, oh, there you go. Give them a half.
It was like, they might touch the ball once. I was like, okay. All right, cool. But looks like they're going to play not only in this one, but we'll play in all three preseason games, according to Brian Callahan. So more and more, Joe, like that seems to be, we saw some of that last year. It seems like more guys around the league are playing a little bit this year in the preseason. I think coaches are trying to get their guys at least a little bit of work in the preseason.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously very copycat. I don't know. Maybe someone's written about it. At some point, some coach in the NFL was like, screw these preseason games.
Yep.
And then everybody starts sitting their guys. And I've talked before about watching a Bengals-Lions preseason game. Kajana Carter was an incredible player at Penn State in college, and like his first carry of a preseason game, he blew his ACL. And in the 90s, that was a different deal than it is now. And it's like, man, you have a situation like that. There's been plenty of other examples of injuries in preseason games, and it's like, why? But also the why is, if that team, they're sending their guys out there and they're actually going to have a little bit of timing and have a little bit. We know the padded practices are way less now. A lot of the wins, quote unquote, air quotes, for the NFLPA is like less practice time and stuff like that. And some of that's good. There's some player safety elements to that, but also like teams are way less polished now on week one of a season than they used to be.
Yep.
So if other teams start doing stuff to be more prepared, you're like, well, I guess we better do it too. It'd be great to see that trend come back a little bit. So these preseason games are like somewhat watchable a little bit, to actually see what a football team is going to look like on game day, at least see a little bit of it. So, but I think for the Titans, again, given the reality of this season, which they can acknowledge or not, the front office does. Everybody who's actually doing the football doesn't, and I don't expect them to, but they also, the young quarterback, like you got to get them work, I think, especially because Callahan said in there somewhere, like, you don't want that week one to be like too much of an eye opener, I think he said, right?
Yep.
Well, it's going to be an eye opener.
Oh, yeah.
At Denver. In that elevation, in that stadium with a super pumped up fan base.
And that defense specifically.
And that defense against your rookie quarterback. It will be an eye opener. I mean, you can play Cam all the preseason games, all the snaps, and it's still going to be an eye opener. But yeah, I think that's why as much work as you can get, and I think that's a good thing.
Brian Callahan also addressing his blow up at practice the other day and called it a teachable moment, is what he said. And he did point out, which I took note of in that answer of, you guys say it's uncharacteristic. You're not around me every minute of every day. So I think that was Brian Callahan's way of saying, this is not the first time I've like jumped down their throats out there when it comes to maybe in a team meeting or whatever it is. So I did take note of that response by him, but said, he was kind of frustrated with the way that last practice period went, and saw that as an opportunity to get on his team and to hold his team to the higher standard there. So that's what Brian Callahan had to say, a teachable moment for the Titans on Sunday at his at that expense. I would have loved to have known what he would have said in the immediate aftermath of that, and not with 3 days to think about what answer he was going to give.
Yeah. Adam in Portland has switched from ripping me to ripping Callahan. He says, if I'm ever struggling to sleep, I'm going to put on that press conference. What a boring dude. That practice yelling was absolutely manufactured. And this bland version is the real deal. Way to get us hyped up, coach. So I guess I'm not following the logic. I don't look, his John C. Reilly speech, I believe we're going to be like, that was manufactured. That was like, I'm going to try to like get my, this is what I'm supposed to do. So I'm going to try to get a little more oomph in it. That felt manufactured. And I don't see how, again, not that we saw it or we have audio of it, but just because this is his default, that you don't think he can actually get angry. I mean, if he can't get angry, then he's actually like an AI coach, right?
Yeah.
I think he's a human being. So I'm assuming that like anger can be genuine, especially if you're a coach like him. Let's see, you're a public figure. Everybody's thinking you're getting fired in the next year. You're coming off you had the worst team in the NFL last year, and they're playing like crap right now. We don't think that could be genuine anger?
Yeah.
Just because his default is to be calm and positive. I mean, I think I think that's a failing logic by you, Adam. And
here's the other thing. Like, this is the NFL, and I think this is true really in all levels of sports, but certainly as you get into the college level and the NFL level, when, for lack of a better term for college guys, I mean, they're professionals now. If you start manufacturing stuff out there, you're going to lose the locker room very quickly. Like if the team looks at your coach and says, yeah, this guy's just trying to drum something up right now, and this is not him, that doesn't play very well with professional athletes. Like, you have to be genuine. So look, I fully recognize that there are some people that are probably built more for yelling and screaming than other people are.
Yeah.
But if like the players got out there and they just detected any sense of just not a coach being phony out there, that's not going to go very well for a locker room in the National Football League.
Right. So the guys walking out of that pre-camp thing, I'm sure a couple were like, okay, man.
Yeah.
But I would assume this was real anger,
Yeah.
And again, it seems like it was justified.
Look,
like it was warranted anger.
Say, I like it. And again, I think probably too often we overblow the coach has got to show some passion. And we've talked about that with the Titans. We've talked about that. I remember when John Hines was the coach of the Predators, and all these Predators fans are like, he never says anything back there. Like, he never does anything on the bench. It's like, yeah, I've seen John Hines blow up at people before. Like, it happens. We probably overblow that too much. But I think every now and then, part of your job as a head coach is when you see your offense or your team or whatever it is slipping below whatever standard you've set for yourself, it's on you to put a stop to it. Like, that's why you're there. It's on you to put a stop to it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, look, what you hope, as every single coach will always say, is that player coach teams are better, is you hope that you got guys who are going to scream at their teammates. You hope you have people who are enforcing in the locker room and all that stuff. But
sometimes even with those teams, the coach has got to step in and do it.
Exactly.
Yep.
And Vrabel one time made a point to me, or the story he was talking about, but he was saying, like, what's really the difference? Yes, there are some older guys or some, guys who've been in the league, but like, what's really the difference when you're coaching a 22-year-old rookie, 23-year-old, or like a 21-year-old at Clemson or Alabama?
Yeah.
I mean, they're air quotes, they're kids. You're in your early 20s. It's basically this, largely the same thing. And most of the guys of the 90, most of them are very young, because most of them are guys who are just trying to make it in the league, and so
yeah.
It's really not that different in a lot of ways.
David on the text line says, could this Titans team be one of the worst NFL teams of all time? Could they be historically bad like some of the old Lions teams? It kind of feels that way to me. I mean, look, I'm not going to say they couldn't be. I don't think they're going to be very good. I got a hard time imagining 1-16 or 0-17 or something like that. Like, I don't think they're going to be that bad. They were pretty bad last year, and they won 3 games. Is this roster better than last year's roster? I guess that depends on the eye of the beholder, but
I think so.
Probably not dramatically, but I think so. So, I mean, they could end up, look, guys, they could win 4 or 5 games this year and still be pretty darn bad.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be like Cleveland Browns 0-16 or Detroit Lions 0-16 bad.
Yeah, like most of those teams had like a really bad quarterback situation. And I mean, look, it could be the case with Cam Ward as a rookie, but like most of them had, like, I'm trying to think, I remember like the Lions had like Mike McMahon, who was just like a journeyman who played at Rutgers, and he was like a pretty good athlete, but he couldn't play quarterback. Like usually it's like a really dire quarterback situation to have a chance to be that bad. And also you would assume that, first of all, we do think the offensive line is better, and you're assuming that some of these rookies are going to make a difference. So it turns out that the rookies aren't amounting to anything at all. Like the receivers do nothing. Oladejo does not. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
we can start talking about an awfully bad football team.
The 2017 Cleveland Browns went 0-16, and their quarterback for the majority of that year, and God bless him, I love this guy, played in a softball game with him and warmed up with him. My guy.
Yeah.
Deshaun Kaiser.
Yeah, there you
Not
go.
very good at quarterback. I mean, that year he played 15 games for Cleveland and threw 11 touchdowns and 22 picks.
Including 3 to Kevin Byard on one day,
Yeah,
I believe, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
53.6% completion percentage. 2,894 yards. So
yeah, that's what it takes.
That's a pretty special quarterback play, and not special in the way that you're looking for. Pretty specially bad quarterback play that they had. And that's pretty high contributor to going 0-16.
Yeah, that's
I don't think it's going to be that bad for the Titans. If it is,
then
we're talking about a lot of things.
Yeah, we're exactly. If it is, and there's different things we're talking about. They're like, oh my goodness, what have they done? Basically.
615-737-1025, our phone number. A lot of your reaction to get to on the Titans front. We will do that. Coming up next, you're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. 1025 The Game and Souls for Souls have teamed up for a back-to-school fundraiser, Souls for the 615, to provide new shoes for kids experiencing homelessness in Nashville. You can help a child in Middle Tennessee step into the new school year with confidence by donating $20 for a new pair of athletic shoes. For more information and to donate, visit thegamenashville.com/shoes. Souls for the 615 is sponsored by Macero and 12 South. Go check them out for handcrafted cocktails, bold plates, great happy hour, and elevated hospitality. Taking your thoughts on the Titan 615-737-1025. If you missed it, we did announce earlier, Paul Kuharski will be back with us for his weekly interviews. Normally going to be on Wednesdays at the same time it's been, at 8 o'clock from 8 to 9. Obviously, Titans are practicing today, so not happening today. PK will be with us on Friday from Tampa Bay to go over the joint practice with the Bucs. Looking forward to that.
Probably not from the actual Bay, but from Tampa.
Yeah, he will be in Tampa. Hopefully not in the Bay.
Or maybe he will be, though.
Hopefully head above water. That'd be good.
Out there with some avocado tequila.
Well, maybe so.
Adam in Portland saying I'm rage baiting. So what am I rage baiting about? You know, he doesn't think it was authentic. Maybe he's right. Maybe he's not. Now he's like, oh, you're right. Joe Montana was nowhere near as good as those other guys. I didn't say nowhere near as good. I think that Dan Marino and John Elway are better quarterbacks than Joe Montana. I didn't say there's like some huge gap, but I think they're both better quarterbacks than Joe Montana. Sorry.
Hey, we're all entitled to
I don't
our
think
opinions.
it's that crazy.
I don't think it's crazy, no.
Ed was on the way to a golf outing, couldn't respond to my nonsense. He says, so you would take Marino over Montana if you had one game to win? Yes.
Hit him straight, Ed.
Dan Marino never had anything resembling a running game. Joe Montana had Roger Craig, also Tom Rathman. What a freaking fullback that guy was. Also,
Lost start in today's game. Need better fullback play.
Dan Marino did not have defenses like Joe Montana had either. Joe Montana played for a far superior organization and team, and he had the best receiver of all time catching his passes. Marino had, Duper and Clayton. They're good. Yes, I'm taking Dan Marino. Thank you.
Let's head to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our buddy Mark in Nashville to the program. Mark, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, how you doing, Robby? Joe, I'm going to get to you in just a minute.
Okay.
I'm listening. Joe, I'm listening to you.
Okay,
I'm
good.
I'm listening to you. But, Robby, first of all, I'm going to address the situation with the Titans.
Okay.
Yes, that's a bad roster. Yes, they need to play them in all the preseason game. I'd play them all 4 quarters. I mean, they really need to pick up their game and become a better team. But that is a bad roster. Cam does need those preseason games to give him a little more experience. They'll help him out a little more, preparing for the regular season. I'm not going to question Callahan on his mental thing right now, all the raging he might be doing. I'm not even going to question that. He's got to win. But, Joe, I'm coming back to you. I love you, Joe. But, Joe, the disrespect. You giving Joe Montana. Come on here, Joe.
No, he's a great quarterback.
Joe, look, everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got a system, Joe. I mean, when Brady was there, it was who? Charlie Weiss. It was Bill whatever his name was.
Bill O'Brien. Yeah, Bill O'Brien, Josh McDaniels, all of them. Yep.
Yeah. Josh McDaniels. Everybody's got a system. Walsh had a system. Great, like you said, the West Coast is probably the greatest offensive system there ever was. It still exists. But, Joe, the disrespect you giving Joe Montana. Joe, he's the greatest there was. Clutch. He wasn't a great athlete like Steve Young. He didn't have to be. He had that arm. He was a pitcher, Joe.
I have nothing bad to say about him. I have nothing bad to say about him.
Joe Money pitched the rock. Marino was great too, Joe. But, I mean, on my list, I got Joe Money first, Brady second. Now, Brady won 7 Super Bowls. If Joe had stayed in San Francisco, he'd at least won 5. I mean, come on, Joe. Don't disrespect this man.
You know what? First of all, thanks, Mark. And Mark is not alone. Okay. And there are people who are on that boat, and that's fine. That's why it's fun to have these discussions. But, I mean, it's like the hypothetical thing. So, plunk Marino into the exact same spot that Joe Montana was in.
Yeah.
And give Bill Walsh that arm. Put John Elway in the exact same spot. I mean, to me, I think John Elway is a little bit better version of Steve Young. Tremendous athlete, runner. Also, one of the best arms. I mean, John Elway, man, for people who aren't of a certain age, John Elway was the, like like you draw up a quarterback in the lab, that's your guy.
Yeah.
He finally ended up winning 2 later. He went to the Super Bowl with teams that were far inferior to the teams that were destroying them in the Super Bowl, such as the Niners, such as Washington and the Giants. So it's an interesting discussion. I'm not disrespecting him saying he stunk or anything. I just think those guys are a little bit better. And they didn't have the same situation he had.
I didn't anticipate the Joe Montana slander today or Joe Montana discussion, but it's always welcome when it comes out here. Josh from Lebanon says Joe Montana is like Emmitt Smith, product of the great players around them on their teams. You put Marino or Elway on the 49ers, and they've got as many Super Bowls, just like putting Barry Sanders behind that offensive line in Dallas, he would have destroyed Walter Payton's record.
Josh, are you coming directly out of my brain? Are you tapped into my brain? Because let me tell you something, buddy. That is one of the greatest texts of all time. Thank you. No, you're right. I mean, Barry Sanders, like Emmitt Smith, is a great example of he was a great player. He does not belong in the discussion of the top 10, 15 backs of all time. Jeez. He doesn't.
The top 10 or 15?
Okay.
He's the all-time leading rusher
I
in
know.
the league.
I know. I understand. Dude,
put you like
it's
the top 8.
It's the best offensive line of all time.
I hear
the
you.
best offensive line of all time. With Aikman, with Irvin. I mean, just saying. Okay, fine. Top 8.
Emmitt Smith, a borderline Hall of Famer.
No. I mean, how many running backs are in the Hall of Fame?
He wasn't as good as Bishop Sankey. You put Bishop Sankey on that Cowboys team, that guy'd be unbelievable.
See, now look at what you're doing. You're rage baiting.
I mean, I'm trying to think of like the legends here in sports that you don't hate. Like, was Gretzky good? Was Gretzky a good player?
I don't hate any of these people. I've told you I love Brady and Jordan.
Jason Arnott better than Wayne Gretzky?
I'll take Dino Cicerelli, man. Guy was tougher and
Dino, yes. Hey, I'm just telling you. It's I did not expect this conversation to go that way.
So Adam in Portland, speaking of rage baiting, he says, I have at least one take a day now where it's something completely wacky so people get flustered and want to argue with you. Joe,
this is not new, by the way.
No, I've said this before.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't even know how we got to Joe Montana today. But it's not. This is not some strategy to get people pissed off. I don't think it's that crazy to think that Elway and Marino are better than Montana. I really don't. And I understand. I don't think it's that crazy to think Montana's better than Brady. You're welcome to think that if you want. I think it's these arguments. The reason that they're good arguments is because it's close, right?
Yeah.
But like when people get into, well, whoever wins is what matters, then I say great because Nick Foles beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Better quarterback, right? Like you have to look at all the information.
I mean, Eli beat him twice.
Right.
Just saying.
And I'm not, and of course, none of us in our right minds would ever actually argue that Eli Manning's a better quarterback than Tom Brady, right?
I don't think so.
Of course we wouldn't. But, no, Marino didn't get a ring. So, okay. So tell me what he dealt with his entire career in Miami. They could not figure out how to put the right things around him.
Now I'm allowing my mind to wander back to that text in the last segment about like how bad could the Titans be? I mean, I pray to God that we are not talking about, in mid-December, the Titans having won 1 or 2 games. Give me more than that this year. I don't think they're going to be that bad. It's going to be hard to be that bad in today's NFL.
I don't think they're going to be that bad either. But they could be better, and they could be right around there.
Yeah.
Because their schedule doesn't ease up until, they're probably way out of the playoff race, which is unfortunate. Like, if you could flip-flop their schedule – They could be like 3-2, and be like, hey, okay, and get a little excitement and kind of hang around. It is the reverse of what they needed to
They
be.
still have San Francisco and KC at the end of the season in December.
Yeah.
So,
but they have most of their winnable games are in their last 6-7 games, right?
yeah, Jacksonville, Cleveland, and then the Saints and Jacksonville again.
Yeah. I would love to know, going through the schedule, when is, and it's very hard to do this today without having seen anybody play yet and knowing what the injury situation is going to be like. I would love to know, when is the first time this year that the Titans will be favored to win a game? I would love to know it because, it's not going to be one of the first 2 weeks. I can guarantee you that. Are they going to be favored against the Colts in week 3 at home?
Possibly.
Maybe. I kind of doubt
Just
it.
depends on
but
obviously.
maybe.
It depends on how what we see from both teams in the early going. I think that could be a pick-em-ish game. But yeah, right now,
But like beyond
what's the
that,
line now? Colts probably by 2.5 or something, right?
Like beyond that, maybe Cleveland in December, December the 7th. Could they be favored on the road against Cleveland? That's home against the Saints on December 28th. They could be again. We will have seen and experienced a lot of football by that time. So it can. I'm just saying today, like if Vegas is making the lines today, when's the first time the Titans are favored in a game this year?
Yeah.
Does that game exist?
Yeah, that might be. It might be the Cleveland game. And again, like even with them, they still have tons of talent on D.
Yeah,
I mean that's
and it's a road game, as Robby said.
It's a road game. Yeah,
yeah.
It's hard to find a road favorite.
Vegas doesn't
we know.
know.
I mean, do we know Dan Moore? I'm glad he's looking good at camp. But all we heard was, well, he had to go up against Myles Garrett a lot. Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt and all these guys. Like, well, look, here he is again.
Yep, there you
Myles
go.
Garrett.
Enjoy them again. By the way, did Dillard retire?
I think it was Dennis Daly.
Oh, Daly retired.
It was Dennis Daly.
Okay, Dillard hanging on. Dennis Daly retired. All right. Congratulations on a career. You were a football player in the NFL.
Football player in the NFL.
Congrats.
Let's head back to our 1025 The Game phone line. Welcome in Bill to the program. Bill, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning. I'm an old man. I'm 60 years old. I've been watching pro football since I was 5.
Fran Tarkenton's the greatest of all time. Come on.
Nope. I'm going to have to agree with Joe.
Wow. Who you got?
Dan Marino is the greatest pure passer of the football.
Joe's so happy over there.
John Elway is the most complete quarterback that I've ever seen.
Thank you for the call, Bill. Appreciate it.
Bill, you're the best.
Bill is just totally reinforced Rexrode over there. He's fired up.
Boom! Have some of that. And Big Joe, I
He
know
hit the table so hard it made my microphone drop down to the floor.
Sorry, that low T mic.
It's really struggling over there.
Trying to get the
It's
blood
like, where'd my
flowing again.
microphone go? 615-737-1025, our phone number. Some interesting clips have come out from a Netflix documentary regarding Vanderbilt football and some of the things they had to say about Tennessee. We'll get into that.
Robby's mad.
Coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. A lot of different thoughts on best quarterbacks out there. I just got to vote for Fran Tarkington as the best quarterback of all time. So there you go.
Big Joe has weighed in, apparently, and Big Joe talks Dan Marino all the time. But also Tim Hasselbeck said Elway yesterday.
Okay.
So, and he also brought up Brett Favre.
Yeah, Favre.
Yeah, we're having a Favre discussion right now.
We are.
See
what happens.
Favre did a lot of things that, a lot of
stopping in your
that are
tracks.
Notable. Yeah, stopping your tracks. That's right. Stopping your tracks and, oh my God, cover your eyes.
Speaking of quarterbacks, Joe, I guess Netflix has come out with this SEC docuseries.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really good.
And it's supposed to be really good. Looking forward to it. But some clips have surfaced of basically Vanderbilt getting ready for the Tennessee game. And there's a clip of Clark Lee in a meeting room. He's screaming about how much he wants to beat Tennessee, and Diego Pavia screaming about how, like, basically any given Saturday, we can beat Tennessee. Any given Saturday. And, of course, those things have come out, and Vols fans found them, and they're having a lot of fun at the expense of Vanderbilt and Diego Pavia over the last couple of days when those clips have been coming out there. It is interesting to say, like, we've talked about Pavia specifically and just the level of don't give a crap that guy has and, like, how much confidence he has. And look, there's no doubt, and we've talked about this before, I think some of it is a little delusional, but that's also what makes him tick, which is good. But I know Tennessee fan, like, Pavia is the exact type of guy. Number one, if you're Vanderbilt, you love to have him. Number two, if you're a team like Tennessee or a fan base like Tennessee, he's exactly the type of guy that you love to hate. And boy, has this sparked up some trash talk between Vanderbilt and Tennessee fans the last couple of days.
I mean, I've never seen anything like this. Do you have that, Ian? So some of this is Clark Lee too. So you might hear Clark Lee's voice. This is a kind of a cut up of this back and forth here with the Vanderbilt perspective before the UT game of last year.
I want to beat Tennessee, and I need everyone to be on the same page.
We can beat Tennessee literally any given Saturday.
We're not leaving that stadium on Saturday without a win.
They think they're going to destroy us. Every single one of them dudes, we're going to win this game at all costs.
That was quite some strong words from
Fart
Diego
every
Pavia.
one of those dudes. Fart them all.
We're going to win these games at all costs. Did not play out that way for Vanderbilt.
No, look at you
So
gloating.
Are
Look
they
at
still
you
in the field?
gloating? Huh?
They said they weren't leaving the field without a win.
They did.
Are they still there?
Now, another part of the
I'm just telling you what he said.
I like when your little Vanderbilt hatred kind of bubbles up to the surface.
I don't
a little
hate
bit.
Vanderbilt. I'm just saying they said that they're not leaving the field without a win. So I wonder, always when people say that, I wonder if they're still there.
I wonder if they're still there. That's a fair question to ask. Now, they also showed the Tennessee players and Heupel in this series in the locker room, post-winning locker room, singing the "We Don't Give a Bleep" about the whole school of Vanderbilt, which is an interesting one. That's one of those when Ohio State beats Michigan or Michigan State, they sing that "We don't give a damn about the whole state of Michigan." It's like the same song, but they say "We don't give a fart."
No, they don't. They said the other word. They said "damn."
You sure?
Yeah. I promise. There's a video of it.
Yeah, I know there was a video. I swear I saw that. Okay. Well,
I mean, I can't say that some of the guys in there didn't say it. I don't know.
Well, I don't want to besmirch your Vols.
I'm just saying.
I don't want to get you mad.
A little classy over there.
Be mad at Vanderbilt. No, Pavia, like, seriously, name me the Vanderbilt athlete ever who is able to anger people the way he does.
I don't think there is one.
And in a way, I mean, we'll see how it plays out this year. Maybe it's not great to be, that targeted at Vanderbilt. Like you don't necessarily want people to be like, I got to get that guy. Like you kind of want like sneaking up on people is kind of a good thing when you have a talent disadvantage, which I still think, most weeks they will this year. But man, I mean, if you're a Vanderbilt fan, I would think you would love this because it's like finally someone who other people hate who plays for us,
Yeah.
Like they had great players at times. Zach Cunningham, they've had some great players. Jordan Matthews, friend of the show, but someone who people are actually like, I want to get that guy.
And I think people didn't like Jay Cutler because of like his face. We've talked about punchable faces in sports.
That's true. But was that in college?
But not really in college.
Yeah.
That was more of an NFL thing.
It was like once you got to the NFL and people
look at this guy. Yeah.
It's like he had to get to the NFL for people to know who the heck he was.
Right.
I said this. I wrote this thing about who could be the next Indiana, and I eliminated Vanderbilt because I said one thing is name 10 players right now in college football more well-known going into this season than Diego Pavia. I bet you can't. You'd be naming like the top QBs.
Sure.
And, Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams. Like, he is that level of, like, college football personality because of 1 year. Pretty amazing.
And by the way, it has come out that he was playing with a torn hamstring last year. So that is now out there.
I was so sure it was an ankle, but,
Yeah.
man, that's even worse.
Yeah, he's playing with a torn hamstring.
Unbelievable.
So obviously, when he's healthy, hopefully he stays healthy this year, and we can kind of get the full picture of what that looks like. And again, we've gone through Vanderbilt's schedule. It is not easy, and I mean they're over under win totals 4.5 for a reason. They got a tough schedule, so we'll see what that looks like. But I mean, I'm telling you, Tennessee Vanderbilt again this year has got a chance to be pretty spicy, particularly if Tennessee is like okay, but they're not in the college football playoff discussion.
Yeah, and they might be. I mean, who knows? They might be a 3-loss team that has to win. Vanderbilt could be a 5-6 team that has to win. That's what we can hope for. Michael Madison says, as a Vandy fan, I'm willing to run through multiple brick walls for Diego and possibly give him my firstborn.
There you go.
Very next texter. Pavia is such a loser. This is coming from a very non-UT fan. I don't believe you. But the UT fans, I mean, they do not like him at all. Vol Twitter is all over him. And again, if you're Vanderbilt, you have to, like a Vanderbilt fan, that's what I would think too. What Michael Matt is like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Matthew Nashville says Pavia wants the smoke. He's going to get it when we break the Neyland sound record we set in 23 and get Admiral Schofield to film another Don't Let Up video. Pavia ain't ready for Neyland loud. This from Matthew in Nashville in text line. Already talking some crap, some smack before the Tennessee Vanderbilt game in November.
Cameron says Vandy fell apart as soon as people had a little tape. Pavia is setting them up to get massacred by a lot of people. That's not true, Cameron. I mean, it's, obviously a lot of things had to come together for them to beat Alabama, including like the tipped pick six.
Yep.
But I mean, again, go to the bowl game when he finally could run a little bit more. Georgia Tech had all kinds of tape and time to look at it. And he did his thing against actually a good defense. So no, a defense that held Georgia down just 3 weeks earlier. So it's just not true.
I'm looking forward to, I've said it a billion times on this show, but any sort of spiciness we can get between Tennessee and Vanderbilt, I am all here for. It has lately mostly come on the baseball front, and we've talked about that. But I mean, look, clearly this is not some shocking revelation. Watching Clark Lee address the team the way that he did before the Tennessee game, clearly they don't like Tennessee. They shouldn't like Tennessee.
Exactly.
It's their main rival. So I'm interested to see if they can make something of it this year. Josh Heupel has had a lot of success against Vanderbilt. Can Clark Lee maybe this year more so than like you're looking at what potentially is a pedestrian offense for Tennessee this year? We'll see. Pedestrian quarterback play. This could be an opportunity for Vanderbilt this year.
Yeah, they need to be more competitive because really that game last year, 36-23, but remember how it started. Vanderbilt, there was a big
14-0
hole
before you could blink.
like immediately. And so
Or
it was
10-0, whatever it was.
It was domination for most of the game. And that is one thing Heupel has done. He has had no problem at all at Vanderbilt.
Yeah. 615-737-1025, our phone number. A lot more of your thoughts to get to on our text line. We will do that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
How would you rate the offense so far this camp? And is it close to what you would like to see, or is it pretty far away?
No, I mean, we're still striving to get better and hit a certain mark. I think there's the growth that I think Cam's shown in the last couple of days from that particular process, I think has been really, really encouraging. There's a particular way you have to play quarterback in the NFL, and I think he's figuring out how to balance that with how he's played in the past, and we're trying to mesh those styles together for him. And he's done a great job with it. So there's still growth to be had. We're not where we need to be, certainly, but that's the fun part of training camp. And I think as we stack some practices against some different defenses, I think it'll be fun to see where we're at. I feel good about our trajectory, and I feel good about the process that we have going, and we got to keep pushing to perform.
And that was Brian Callahan today talking about the Tennessee Titans as they are now on the practice field. Welcome in the last segment of Robby and Rexrode. 102.5 The Game. Joe Rexrode here. Robby has had to take off here with the car seat delivery situation. I miss the days of car seats. Now I worry about my kids stealing my actual cars. It's such a different life, when you get older. Jake Lyman, next man up, coming up at the top of the hour, and you are in here right now, Jake. So first of all, give us what are we looking at today on Next Man Up?
So today we have Kevin Ingram coming on, talk a little Vanderbilt, some
Nice.
Titans in the 10 o'clock hour. So from 10 to 11, we'll have Kevin on. Chris Sanders, forever Titans wide receiver, going to join us at 11:15, and plenty of Titans talk. I guess they'll get off the practice field in the next hour or so here. So we'll recap what went down over there at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, and hopefully a better day for Cam Ward, and we can keep the doom and gloom out of our show today. I do have to mention, I heard your texter say that this Titans team is going to be one of the worst teams of all time. That is just absolutely ludicrous.
That's going to be hard to do. That's a high bar.
I mean, they won 3 games last year, and at least on paper, the offensive line and the quarterback are going to be better.
Yeah.
It's hard to be worse than they were last year when those two things are improved. So 0-17 would be a far stretch from what I'm expecting.
Yeah, I think that that's a little bit ambitious. It is. I think it's one of those things where there has been, I think, more pessimism. And again, I think rightfully so. It's the worst team in the league last year. They are struggling. The offense is the focus. The offense is struggling. No one thinks the defense is that great. So I think there's more like pessimism than you normally see around a team in camp. Again, even last year, there was some optimism about Levis. There was all this talk about Levis. Of course, there was a little bit of gaslighting probably from within the Titans organization. Yeah. Some of the stuff Rand Carthon said. So it's a change for like how you're perceiving all the information as a fan. But yeah, worst of all time, that is a special level of awful.
You guys were talking about Deshaun Kaiser. I mean, to throw 11 touchdowns and 22 interceptions, like that is horrible quarterback play. Cam Ward,
he was very bad.
Even if Cam Ward doesn't have a good rookie season, he would have to be generationally bad for a first overall pick to have numbers like that in his rookie season. So is this team going to win more than 5 or 6 games? Probably not. Could this team only win 2 or 3 games? Possible. But to be 1-16 or 0-17, things would have to go extraordinarily bad.
Yeah. I don't anticipate that. Still a lot of reaction on the text line, driven by WilsonCounty.com to the Pavia. Pavia it's amazing. The intensity of love for him and the intensity of hatred for him is something to behold. This thing just, it comes up. He comes up and someone will say this, and someone already just said something like this. I'm going to read this from Skyler. It says, I'm an Arkansas fan, so my life sucks when it comes to college sports. I have no dog in the fight, but Pavia and Vandy will get smacked this year after the SEC defenses figure Pavia out. Again, guys, like they played a whole year last year. I'm not saying Pavia is going to be, throw for 250, run for 100 every game. They're going to win more than 5 games. But this idea that like there's something you're going to figure out as a defense, it's assignment football that they force you to play. So if he sees things correctly, which he often does pre-snap, he can get him into something different. And again, you put a defense in conflict and make him make a choice. Like there's not. People seem to think there's just this magical answer that they're going to come up with more film study. It's assignment football. So he's going to, if you tackle and you are on your P's and Q's as a defense, and also you don't get yourself sucked in for the deep shot, which they will get you on, yeah, you can play a good defensive game and stop them. They had some tough offensive games down the stretch. But again, the Georgia Tech game, very good defense, and he was healthier, and he did his thing. I like that's just not really a thing to me. It's way overrated. It's kind of like halftime adjustments in football.
I mean, it's one example, but Hugh Freeze has seen Diego Pavia plenty of times. Like he saw him at Liberty. He saw him at Auburn when Diego was still playing at New Mexico State. And then he saw him last year with Vanderbilt and couldn't stop him anytime. So, I mean, I understand the idea of they got a whole offseason, they can figure something out. But, I mean, Hugh Freeze had 3 chances to stop Diego Pavia, and he hasn't been able to do it so far.
I mean, look, all these defense coordinators, they have figured it out. Like they know the schemes they're going against, right? Some of them are more difficult than others. And so when you have, it's like Navy. If you watch Navy, like they are running, basically that triple option stuff, but they have a little bit more advanced passing game with that now, and their quarterback can throw it pretty well, Blake Horvath. And so it's like, I mean, it's a numbers game. You have to play assignment football. You have to be in the right spots. You have to be here. You have to be here. Anybody screws up, now there's a problem. And then again, when you're so devoted to dealing with the option stuff, now they can hit you downfield. That's what Vanderbilt can do too. It's not going to work every week, but there's no magical, we have you pegged. He's a good player. He plays like a basketball point guard, right? And so he's out there making decisions on the fly and usually makes pretty good ones.
Right. Like I'm not expecting Vandy is going to go into Austin and beat Texas or go into Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama. But to say that they're going to get smacked around the SEC and not be competitive in games where, I mean, Missouri comes here to Nashville this year, Kentucky comes here to Nashville. Like those are games that Vandy very well could be favored in this year. And I think that's where Vandy's put themselves. They're no longer in the cellar of the SEC. They're a competitive team right in the middle of the pack.
Yeah. I mean, they're low middle, but still, what were they picked out
12th,
of? 12th out of 16?
13, something like that.
Yeah. So, and like Kevin in Nashville says, Vanderbilt can make adjustments as well on offense. Right. And again, that's the thing. It's like that offense. I love the offense because it's creative. I mean, you don't want to do too much on offense, right? You got to be able to execute, but it's creative. It shows you enough different looks. Some things look the same and they're different plays. And again, like if you have a quarterback who gets it, he does so much to make adjustments, right?
Right.
Like there's not like figuring him out. You just have to, if he keeps making good decisions out there, it's like they're going to at least kill you death by paper cuts, 4 yards here, 6 yards here, and then you can't give up the big shot.
Right.
It's going to be fun. I don't know how good Vanderbilt's going to be on defense. I mean, they've added some players. They've done pretty well. They've got some NIL money. They've been able to, like, I think, close the gap in some ways like they couldn't in previous eras of college football. But how much? I don't know. I mean, that's a big question too. Like, can they be – because last year they had some really good defensive performances. Hugh Freeze, I mean, I still can't believe they couldn't run the ball
17-7
at all. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the question with Vanderbilt, like you talk about figuring out Pavia, I don't know if that's a big question for this year. The question is, this is Pavia's last year. Can Clark Lee and Tim Beck and Jerry Kill find another quarterback after that who can execute this system and continue to keep the upward momentum going for Vanderbilt?
Yeah, the huge loss when they lose him, for sure. And they need to take advantage of this year also to just help the program, to put themselves in a different spot. Last thing real quick. Texter said, let's not overlook the fact we're talking about SEC schools spending the summer on how to stop Vanderbilt. What a time to be a Vandy fan. I think that says it all. And with that, Robby and Rexrode is over. Next man up with Jake Lyman coming up next. 102.5 The Game.